Hi folks, welcome to the Prepared Homestead. This is Travis. Thank you all for stopping by to watch. Recorded this week's podcast yesterday, so it is up and live on any of the services that you listen to podcasts, Spotify, Apple, iHeartRadio, any of those other places that you listen to a podcast. You can listen to the Prepared Homestead podcast and see what you think of yesterday's show. A lot of stuff's going on in the news, some tragic things for certain, but really just a lot of stuff. Yesterday afternoon, evening, a gunman up in Maine apparently went into several different places and shot a lot of people. As of what I could tell recently, about 20 people have been killed, maybe a little bit more. 50 to 60 to some reports, 80 people have been injured. As of the making of this video, the subject is still at large. This guy that they are now claiming was a military vet and had mental issues, and maybe it's all just as legitimate as the news is saying, but who knows? The main thing is right now, in the immediate aftermath, is to remember these folks in prayer. There's a lot of people that's their lives are being greatly disrupted today because of this. So remember that. But I'm sure we will also be seeing, the gun grabbers come out in full force. This is a pretty big deal. Apparently there was another shooting in North Carolina. About 5 people were killed. So who knows? Is this distraction? Is this some kind of inside job, or is this just legitimate? A crazy bad person doing some really bad things. We'll have to wait and see on that one, but I suspect it'll be used regardless to try to push more reasons to come after your means of defense. A lot of other things happening. Acapulco, Mexico had a massive Category 5 hurricane strike. This one has a lot of people puzzled, and it's making me go, About 24 hours before it made landfall, they were saying it was just a tropical storm. All the weather models showed that it wasn't going to be that big a deal, and within a 24-hour period, it went from a mild tropical storm to a major Category 3 hurricane and struck the coast. A lot of damage is done. I honestly haven't seen a lot of reporting out of that. Acapulco's a pretty major city down there, so could be a lot of damage. I've only seen just a few photographs. Interesting how a hurricane can go from kind of nothing to Category 5 within a 24-hour period, but then again, I'm not a weatherman, so what do I know? Apparently, Israel is kind of, sort of, maybe, possibly, not really, started a ground invasion into Gaza. A bunch of troops and tanks have made some incursions into Gaza. They're saying that this isn't the ground war yet, that this is just them going in and doing some small missions into Gaza, but it definitely appears that they are working towards that. They say they've already got the date. They know the date that they're going to go in. It's already been set in stone, and they are moving forward. And of course, it's just causing more and more stuff. Iran has made more threats that if they go through with this full-scale ground war, that it will be a bad deal and that they will retaliate, or at least their proxies will retaliate. A lot of stuff going on. Apparently, Biden is now threatening to go to arms against China because China's ship bumped into a Filipino ship out somewhere in the ocean, and China and Joe Biden is now threatening that we will use the full force of our military to come and defend the Philippines. So he just likes starting wars. I mean, he just likes just going around, this frail, senile old man just loves going around saber rattling and trying to, start fights. It's interesting, right? Because we were told he was the one that was gonna end all the possibility of wars because the last guy was just going to start them all. Well, anyways, on with political news. Apparently, some guy that nobody's ever heard of got elected into some position in Congress that no one really cares about anymore because they all do nothing anyways. Just thought I would throw that out there. Some of you won't like what I just said, but I don't care. They're all worthless. They're all a bunch of parasitic leeches. They do nothing. They benefit no one. They just go there and get wealthy. And I don't care how good you might think any one of them are. They're all working in Washington, D.C. They're politicians. Ugh. I'm sure there's a few other things going on out there. There's always lots of news, and most of it's tragic, because that's the only thing that sells is tragic news, right? And a lot of it is very serious, because as I've said over the last several days, it does appear as if things are shifting, and we're getting more and more into that position of either some kind of global war, a global collapse, something definitely happening. I saw this morning that the CEO of HSBC, which is one of the largest banks in the world, is saying that the global debt is unsustainable and it's at a dangerous tipping point, which is similar to what the IMF said last week. So we're seeing economic indicators showing that not just here in America, but around the world, that things could very much be on the verge of collapse, which would work out just great for the people running the show, because they want to issue a new global currency. And if the current one collapses, it would be a great door opening for their new global currency. So I'm sure that's going to happen at some point. The World Health Organization is wanting to get everyone on board with this health treaty thing. They're really pushing this, that it will clamp down on disinformation and give the World Health Organization, a lot more authority. So they're really pushing that, and a bunch of doctors at the World Health Organization and scientists are pushing for the World Health Organization to declare climate change a global emergency and a global health and pandemic type concern. So that kind of stuff is moving along. And so just because we're hearing all kinds of stuff coming out of the Middle East, or shootings, or saber rattling in, Asia, all this kind of stuff, we can't forget, like I've said, the pouring in of illegals into this country, the collapsing of the economies and currencies, the information and disinformation campaign, the clamp down on your freedom of speech, that's happening everywhere. There's more and more. And then, of course, the climate emergency that's happening. All of this stuff, well, it's showing, and it's all indicators that we're moving further along in this Great Reset Agenda 2030. But there are things that we can focus on that's positive. Number one is, don't let all of this global stuff consume you too much. I mean, yes, it's good to know about it. It helps give you an idea to come up with some sort of timeline of how much time you may have left. But in the end, we know it's all going to happen anyways. It's more entertainment at this point. We know it's going to happen. We just don't quite yet know how it's going to happen. So as these things transpire, it's like, that's interesting. Didn't know that was going to happen. That one, didn't even think of that. What we should be focusing on is our own personal lives, our spiritual walk, our family strength, and our community building, and getting ourselves prepared for what's coming, because it's not coming, it's here. It's just not all here yet. Does that make any sense? I mean, it's not that there's a coming collapse. In my opinion, the collapse is here. It's not like there's a coming war. I had someone in the comments yesterday or the day before, like, oh, there's not going to be any big wars. There already are. Like, we've formed the largest naval force since World War II. We're sending billions and hundreds of billions of dollars around the world, with wars. We've had soldiers lost, to about 24 in the last week, which I know isn't a huge amount of number, but there is already global conflict happening. Has it heated up to a pinnacle point yet? No, of course not. It's just kind of getting started, but we're already there. And there's all kinds of other stuff that's already going on. Collapse level things that's already happening. And so we have to stop looking at this as a what if and realize that it's happening. It's now. It's happening now. It's just not quite at the full speed yet. It's like a steam engine. It's gotta work a little bit before it builds up full steam, and we're not quite at the full steam. We're not even close to the full steam yet, but it's getting there. And so our focus should be getting our circles ready, our small, tight circles, making sure that the people that we know and we trust and we love around us are as ready as possible, that we're ready for things to kind of fall apart around us, for possible massive disruptions of just the systems that we're so used to every day, energy systems, fuel supply, food, medical, all of those things that we just assume, you know, like when you flip a light switch, you just believe that it's just going to come on. You believe when you go to the hospital, the ER, it's just going to be there. Or when you go to the grocery store that there's going to be food. Well, what happens when there isn't? Or what happens when you're not able to get there? Or what happens when they refuse to sell to you? That's the kind of stuff that we need to be preparing for, because the possibility of any one of those, or maybe multiple things happening, are becoming more and more reality. And so be getting yourselves ready, working on your tribe, your family, your community, yourself, all of it. Because in the end, all of this stuff that's happening around the world may be interesting and even entertaining, but the only thing that really matters in your life is you, your family, and your little circle. That's really the most important thing. And so be working on that and making sure over the coming days that you're doing everything you can to get us possibly ready, because it's here. I mean, it's not here, like I said, in full force, but it is here, and we got to get ready for it. Folks, thank you all for watching today, and I'll catch you in the next video. Folks, we are living in uncertain times where chaos seems to be around every corner. With wars and rumors of wars, economic collapse, pandemics, and more, we should strive daily to become more prepared mentally, physically, and of course spiritually. Please check out My Patriot Supply for all your preparedness needs. My Patriot Supply offers Ready Hour food, Alexa Pure water filters, and many other emergency and survival products. My Patriot Supply is an American-owned company, run by Americans producing American-made food. Emergency food from My Patriot Supply has a 25-plus year shelf life. It's simple to fix and delicious to eat. With My Patriot Supply, you can sleep at ease at night, knowing that you and your family have the emergency food to last through the coming times. To find out more, click on the link in the description below or go to preparewithtravis.com.